I'm back. Welcome back, everyone, to another Grindhouse Style episode where I act like an unhinged, bricked-up maniac. I am your host, Adam the Movie Guy. Now, hang on, let me pause for applause. Shit, wrong button, hang on. Thank you. I could feel your love coursing through my body like the blow I snorted before recording this. Kinda like Screwball, the clown I hired for my nephew's birthday party one year.
I'm here to eat cake, make snake balloons, and snort blow.
Now, for this episode, I'm going to go over 3 fun topics. The first topic, and the real reason anyone clicked on this shit show, is 5 memorable sex scenes in horror films. Now, what I personally look for in these type of scenes is one of 2 things. The scene either be genuinely erotic, or my personal favorite, the sex scene in question actually be funny. The reason behind that is because the act of portraying sex on film or television often looks funny as hell, either intentionally or unintentionally, like that Game of Thrones example I mentioned in the previous episode, with the 2 prostitutes playing with one another while Littlefinger gives his life story of being the biggest fucking sore loser sip in the series. Ugh, for real, motherfucker loses his girl who didn't love him back anyway, and it starts his villain arc. What a bitch. The next topic is 5 great uses of blood in horror films. Now, I could go on and name a ridiculous amount of examples, but I'm narrowing it down to just 5, since, like you all listening to me, I can only take hearing the sound of my own fucking voice for so long until I want to throw myself into oncoming traffic. The next topic and the true meat of the episode is me discussing 5 of the worst horror film decisions ever made. Now, to clarify, this is going to be pertaining to both in-story choices and canceled what-if scenarios we could have gotten instead. This is where I go full Jim Cornette.
Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Nah, you know what, scratch that? This is where Nancy comes out. If you know, you know. So everybody strap in, or in the case of the first topic, strap on, because first up, we have 5 memorable sex scenes in horror films. Here we go.
Just like a dream, you are not what you seem. Just like a random choice, your voice can take me there. When you call my name, like the ritual spell, all it takes you there.
Say what you want about Madonna, but Like a Prayer fucks pretty hard, especially in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Oh, are we back already? Well, we're on the subject of fucking, so let's get into it.
That's what she said.
Horror movie sex scene 1. Wrong Turn 5 Bloodlines. Now, there's multiple sex scenes in the movie, but I'm gonna go with the one with the woman trying to get into the Mountain Man Festival who fucks the cop in his van. Now I'm gonna set this audio clip up I'm about to play. So, this cop, who's working security detail for the Mountain Man Festival in the movie, is standing by when this hot woman approaches out of the freaking blue and propositions him for sex in exchange for backstage access or some shit like that. Take a listen to their interaction.
Hi, officer. I think I took a wrong turn. Can you tell me how to get backstage?
Another wrong turn, huh? I can show you, but you need a pass to get in.
I will do anything to get a pass.
And when the sheriff is trying to contact her deputy because shit is going down with the cannibal killers, he's busy getting laid by said hot chick in the back of the police van. And let me say, damn, she was getting into it. Take a listen, and fair warning, I wouldn't play this out loud if I were you. Here it is.
Mike, Kevin, you guys out there?
This scene was pretty erotic, but then it was also pretty funny when you realize that typical horror movie rules would lead them to having be killed during the sex scene or shortly afterwards, but this led to absolutely fucking nothing. The first time I watched this, I expected the cannibals to bust open those van doors and kill them both, but we never see these characters ever again. It was basically a sex scene thrown in there for the hell of it that didn't set up a kill, develop the characters, or lead to anything with either of said characters. Let me be clear, I am not complaining. But I just wish afterwards they did a cool mutual kill scene like a Friday the 13th movie, so it was a wasted opportunity. I still appreciate the view, and it made me laugh when I realized they weren't coming back, so they get points for trying. Horror movie sex scene 2, the anthology film VHS 2, and the segment Phase 1 Clinical Trials. For this short horror segment, it's about a guy who gets a cybernetic eye implant and he can now see ghosts, and the sex scene in question is when this hot red-headed goth-looking girl shows up to his place and explains she could hear them with a cochlear ear implant. And out of nowhere, when this fat, ugly ghost shows up staring at them, and the ghost is the abusive uncle of the hot goth girl, the hot goth girl says you have to ignore them or they get stronger and more violent. So, to get rid of her uncle's ghosts, she takes a swig of booze, pushes the guy on the couch, takes off her shirt showing her incredible titties, straddles him, and they start getting down all while the ghost is watching. Take a listen to the audio clip of it.
Jesus, I know how to make it go away. Just focus on
Now hear me out, guys. If that was guaranteed to happen to me, and all I had to do is put up with ghosts, give me that damn cyber eye right the fuck now, because god damn, that was a lady. The first ghost I see, I just turn to my girlfriend or wife and say, babe, you know what we gotta do to get rid of them, so let's get it and give them a fucking show.
I'll tell you how sexy you look. So fucking sexy. Come here, girl. Bring your little sexy ass over here. Come on, full speed.
Ugh, damn, this one's gonna be hard to beat. Speaking of hard, I better calm the fuck down and take a breath before I have the walls looking like a Jackson Pollock painting. One last note on this scene that I forgot to mention is that the guy with the cyber eye, since he's doing a trial, the footage is a live feed being viewed by the scientists who made the cyber eye. They can see and hear what the main guy does. And the main guy knows this, so one of the funniest moments come after the sex scene where he goes into the bathroom, looks into the mirror, and tells the scientists he wants a copy of that sex footage. Take a listen to the clip.
All right, you scientist assholes. I want a copy of that footage. Like, I want you to put it on a disc or something, but don't watch it. Just get it to me, okay? All right.
Honestly, I think we would all do that. Let's be fair. Come on, you know you would. Horror sex scene 3, Sleepaway Camp 2. The sex scene in the woods between the mean girl of the movie Allie and some douchebag guy counselor I never really gave a fuck about. Anyway, she is riding the absolute shit out of this guy and moaning so loud, I swear they heard her back at the camp. And the funniest thing about the scene is right when they're done having sex, she asks him if he has AIDS. Take a listen to them having sex. It's about 45 seconds, and for God's sakes, don't play it out loud. You have been warned. Here, take a listen.
Great. Thanks a lot. That was fun. Listen, you don't have AIDS or anything, do you?
No.
Great. See ya.
I mean, it's a pretty hot scene that becomes surprisingly funny with that moment at the end. And one last thing I wanted to mention is how in the 1970s and 80s slasher films, it was very typical for the guy to be the one seeking pleasure, and the second he got laid, 9 times out of 10, he didn't give a shit about the poor girl that didn't see through his bullshit. However, in Sleepaway Camp 2, with the character Allie, she flips that trope on its head in a bizarre way where she's the one seeking pleasure and using that douchebag counselor guy as a means to an end, which is to say she wanted to blow a load. And the moment she gets off, she's like, yeah, that's all nice, cool story, thanks, bye forever. But that was essentially her attitude. For such an asshole mean girl character, I mean, it was refreshing to see a flipped on its head version of an old trope of somebody hitting it, then quitting it. Horror sex scene 4. The Devil's Rejects. The dream sex scene between Captain Spaulding and the prostitute. This scene was pure fucking gold, since it's the first one you see of Captain Spaulding in the movie, played by the late legendary actor Sid Haig, R.I.P., and it is fucking hysterical, with this prostitute riding Spaulding like he's a horse, all the while he's enjoying every second of it. Take a listen to it, it's a minute long, and for the 4th time, please don't play this out loud. Here it is, take a listen.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Give it. Yeah. Ride the horse, baby. Ride it. Next time you're gonna have to pay me.
This man is who I strive to be like when I'm in my 60s, because holy shit, you gotta admire his spirit. And it gets funnier because when he wakes up from the sex dream, there's another woman in his bed entirely, and he has a great interaction with her. Take a listen to it.
Listen on your bad dream?
Yeah, 50-50.
You wanna fool around some more?
Oh, Jesus Christ, woman, I gotta take a piss.
No.
Hey, didn't you get enough ass banging last night? God damn it, my dick is still sore.
Oh, come on, I'm horny.
Oh.
Most guys like that quality to girl.
Yeah, except you're acting like some kind of spastic mongoloid geek.
Hurry.
And last but not least, horror sex scene 5, Friday the 13th, 2009 reboot, the tent sex scene. Now, I know most people would mention the sex scene toward the latter half of the movie, but I wanted to change it up since everybody mentions that one, but don't really touch upon the one in the beginning of the movie. It's sexy and funny because the guy's with his girlfriend hitting it from the back and doesn't care at all about the possibility that one of their friends is watching them when they hear footsteps outside the tent. Take a listen to it, and one last time, do not play this out loud. Here it is.
Wait for me.
No, I think I'm gonna...
Oh, no, don't
Just
do
give me...
that again.
Okay, we'll do it at the same time. I'm almost there.
Shit, I heard something. Wait, I'm serious.
What?
I think Wade's watching us.
What? Well, fuck it, let the perv watch.
There are so many sex scenes in the Friday the 13th franchise, I very easily could have made the whole list just with different examples from this series alone. In fact, maybe I should in a future episode. Guys, if you got a filthy idea and want me to discuss more of these types of sexy scenes for individual horror franchises, feel free to share it and comment.
Oh, no, don't mind me. By all means. Give me some ideas.
Well, guys, that's all for this sexy horror segment. Now, on to the next, where I'll be talking about 5 great uses of blood in horror films. Let's get started.
Oh, yes. There will be blood.
Alright, bloody great moment number 1. The eye bleeding and vomiting up intestine scene from Lucio Fulci's 1980 film, City of the Living Dead. This scene is fucking sick and will ruin your appetite. It starts off genuinely unnerving when the woman's eyes just start to bleed in a very uncomfortable, realistic fashion. And I remember the first time I watched this movie and I thought, oh, that was probably going to be the extent of it, which was already disturbing enough. But holy shit was I wrong, because she starts vomiting up her intestines and her literal goddamn stomach. It was one of the grossest scenes I have ever seen in a movie and still sticks with me to this day. You guys can watch the scene on YouTube, but I warn you, it is gross as all hell and may ruin your appetite. Bloody great moment 2. Terrifier 3, the chainsaw shower kill. I mean, come on, any excuse to talk about Terrifier 3 again, am I right? Something about Christmas horror movies just appeals to me so much. I think it's because what's supposed to be a beautiful, joyous holiday with loved ones, and having it turn into a bloodbath, in this specific case, literally a bloodbath, gives Christmas time horror films an extra sharp edge to them. Now, I have audio of this kill that's about 2 minutes long, so I'm gonna give everybody listening a warning for this one. It is fucking disturbing. Well, I warned you, so don't bitch about it in the comments since I wipe my ass with complaints anyway. Here it is, take a listen.
It's a jolly clown named John. He's a on a journey to outdo himself and conquer his latest fear. It's a terrifying Christmas, sing along and harmonize. Sparks just getting started, and the death tolls on the rise. It's the terrifying Christmas.
Holy shit. They got fucking destroyed. My God. I'll never forget seeing that in the theater and everyone was going absolutely batshit. What the fuck? That was probably the best scene in the entire movie. And I know I probably sound like a sick fuck, but come on. Anybody who saw Terrifier 3, you're a sick fuck by default. And I mean that as a compliment because I absolutely love Terrifier 3. Anyway, it was just a fucking showstopper of a scene, and holy shit, I don't even know how to wrap my head around what the fuck I just saw. I literally reviewed the scene before recording just to see if it was as violent as I remember it, and Jesus Christ, I'm slurring. I just saw this scene the second time, and I just can't fucking believe it. It is, I don't even know how to describe this fucking scene. It's like a bloody orgasm of a kill. You know what? That actually oddly fits, because they were actually going to town on each other, those college kids, right when Art, chopped them up. So, you know what? That That works. I'm gonna go with that. A bloody orgasm of a kill. Sorry guys, I need a smoke after playing that last clip. Fuck me. Anyway, on to the next bloody horror moment. Bloody great moment 3. Hostel 2, the bathing in blood scene. Now, the scene in question, for those of you who don't know, consists of this captured college girl stripped naked and strung up upside down like she's the catch of the day, and suspended above what looks like a strange tiled tub. The lights were turned off and there's candles lit up all around the area of this tub, and in walks this hot middle-aged woman wrapped in this red sort of robe, and she proceeds to throw it off, revealing herself to be completely naked, lays down in the tub below the strung-up college girl, pulls out a long-bladed scythe, and just starts cutting this girl's back over and over again, all while the blood is falling down on this woman, who starts smearing the blood all over her body, like her face, her stomach, her tits. It's disgusting. And she's literally bathing in the blood of this college girl, and by the looks of it, getting off on this sick shit. And finally, she slits the girl's throat, all while the last of her blood pours all over her. I don't have audio of this scene, so I hope I painted a disturbing picture for you. This was a strangely artistic scene and not expected when watching a movie like Hostel 2, and it was a great shout out to the story of Elizabeth Bathory, the real-life countess, who was accused of killing young women and bathing in their blood to keep her youthful appearance. I recall reading somewhere that this was all a bunch of bullshit, and apparently her political rivals just wanted her out of the way. And unfortunately, they succeeded by having her put on trial and sent on house arrest the rest of her life, all while they seized her estate and took all her assets. It's kind of sad, and that's why when you hear the name Elizabeth Bathory, you think of bathing in blood and why her legend is often put in vampire stories. Bloody great moment 4. It, Chapter 1, the bathroom sink blood fountain scene. This movie was fucking incredible and did justice to Stephen King's novel when it comes to keeping the spirit of the book and this film's adaptation of the scene in which Beverly is sprayed with blood in her bathroom at home, which was something Sam Raimi of Evil Dead fame would be proud of. Here's audio of the scene in question.
What the hell's going on?
The best moment for me that punctuated that scene was Beverly's abusive, disgusting, fuckface piece of shit father comes in, completely oblivious to the blood, and only Beverly can see it, which was a fantastic realization moment to the kids and to the audience that they're on their own dealing with this demonic fucking clown. And I mentioned earlier that Sam Raimi from Evil Dead fame would be proud of this scene, which is pretty funny because that leads to the final bloody great moment on the list. Bloody great moment 5, Evil Dead 2013, the chainsaw kill while raining blood. You cannot get more fucking metal with this scene. I love the 2013 Evil Dead film, and it brought the franchise back to the horror roots and the absolute brutality of the first movie in the series. It brought that energy back, and the final girl in this film, Mia, was absolutely perfect. The climax of the movie with her facing off against a demonic abomination version of herself outside the cabin while it was raining blood, with her delivering the most cathartic, show-stopping chainsaw kill in cinema, all while screaming her fucking head off as the screen is red with blood pouring from the sky. Here's the audio clip of the kill. Take a listen to it.
Feast on your soul.
Come this motherfucker!
This was such an incredible film to see in the theaters, and when Mia revved up that chainsaw and shoved that motherfucker in that demon's face, well, this was the number one thought in my head.
God help me, how do I fuck this girl?
Damn fucking straight. I truly believe I speak for everyone when I say this. I need to be inside this woman. I need to be fucking inside of Mia, and I would never leave. I just stay in there and be like, well, this is my life now. We all need to be inside Mia. No one can disagree with me on this. God damn it, Julia, stop shaking your head in the background. I can see you. There's no way you could fucking argue with me on this. Wait, who the hell are you calling?
FBI, open up!
Sorry about that, folks. I had to clear up a few things with some nice people who came to the door unexpectedly, but we're back now. Now, before I get into the next segment, I want to name which of the 5 bloody great horror movie moments is my favorite among them. And honestly, it was so hard to choose between the Terrifier 3 chainsaw kill and the Evil Dead 2013 chainsaw kill. On one hand, with the Terrifier chainsaw kill, it's just pure brutality plus the needle drop moment of the Terrifier Christmas song playing, which makes it an instant classic for me. On the other hand, with the 2013 Evil Dead chainsaw kill, I mean, come on. Mia is so fucking sexy when screaming her head off covered in blood while cutting down that demon. God damn. That kill was almost like an orgasm. It was that fucking great. Whew, I think it's time for another smoke. I'm getting bricked up just thinking about her. And don't you pick up that fucking phone, Julius. We're not doing that again. Thank you. But back to my favorite bloody moment of the bunch. I'm gonna have to go with... It's a tie between Terrifier 3's chainsaw shower kill and Evil Dead 2013's chainsaw kill in the blood rain. I just couldn't pick one over the other, guys. Terrifier's chainsaw scene is just all brutality, while Evil Dead is just pure catharsis for the character Mia. And it helps that she's really fucking sexy, so bonus points.
Why don't you come down here so I can suck your cock, pretty boy?
Set the time and place, Mia. I bet that possessed pussy's so good, I'll be the one speaking in tongues. Woo! Fair warning, though, it won't be blood you'll be covered in afterwards. But that's all for this segment. Let's get into the final segment of the episode, and the one that's gonna boil my fucking blood and rage for some of the creative decisions that were made for these horror films.
It's about to get hot. Toe the line. I don't give a shit if you're taking a shower, shitting, get your ass out here. Shower your time. I don't give a shit if you just got into a fresh piece of pussy, private. No, I don't give a shit.
Alright, this is the part of the show where I go from happy and horny to pissed and absolutely fucking astounded by the creative choices made for these horror films. I can't believe social media didn't exist for some of these films back then because the level of brain rot behind these creative decisions is unfucking believable. Now, to explain again, the films I'm about to name involve either an in-universe story / character decision that was done terribly, or a what if we could have gotten, but got this dog shit instead. So, here we go, and I'll try not to pop a blood vessel while ranting like a rabid lunatic. Bad choice 1. Everything about Jaws 3D. Oh boy, talk about going from the highs of the last 2 movies to the fucking ground level that is this movie. Although at least it wasn't down to the fucking center of the earth like Jaws 4 The Revenge, so I'll give it that one compliment. This is actually a twofer since not only was the story poorly done and boring overall for Jaws 3D, we could have gotten one of 2 things in its place. The first thing we could have gotten was a parody film titled Jaws 3 People Zero, and it was to be directed by Joe Dante of Gremlins fame, with the script written by the National Lampoon guys Maddie Simmons, Todd Carroll, and John fucking Hughes. This movie was gonna be done in the wacky style of the airplane parody movies, and the fact that we could have gotten this shining gold idol of an idea, but got fed the fucking leftover chum that was Jaws 3D in its place, makes me question the fucking sanity of the people at Universal. And allegedly Steven Spielberg himself heard about this idea for a Jaws parody and threatened to walk from Universal if it was made, so that pressured Universal to throw the story in the trash. If that's true, then geez, thanks a lot, Steve. I bet you didn't regret that at all, and I hope you love Jaws 3D, because yeah, that came out so fucking well, right? The other thing we could have gotten wasn't even going to be Jaws 3D at all, but a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake in 3D. It was going to feature 2 Gilman monsters, one good, one evil, fighting the Navy, and was going to be filmed in 3D. We could have gotten another Creature from the Black Lagoon movie directed not only by Jack Arnold, the guy who directed the 1954 OG, but he was going to be partnered up with John Landis of American Werewolf in London fame. So, let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that Universal read the script for Jaws 3D and said, hey, this is fucking gold, let's make this instead of Creature from the Black Lagoon, a property that could have used a new coat of paint and actually needed a new movie. But what do we get instead? A 35-foot shark inside the real-life SeaWorld in Florida attacking people in enclosed areas after its dumbass baby shark kid dies to the fucking incompetence of the SeaWorld employees, the worst fucking 3D that's barely in the movie anyway, and a final act that was so goddamn boring I would rather be counting the floor tiles in my bathroom while taking a shit. And what bothers me the most is that the idea of a shark attacking SeaWorld, while dumb, also sounds kind of fun and could have been done so much better. You got young Dennis Quaid who's trying his best but can't save this dumpster fire. Lou Gossett Jr. who's supposed to be the money-hungry asshole of the movie, but he stole every scene that he was in. And Leah Thompson in her first major role before Back to the Future, probably wondering what the fuck is her purpose in this movie. Although she did look great in that bikini, so she gets a pass. What I'm saying is they could have done so much more with even that ridiculous concept. Man, I just need to get to the next movie because I'm already sick of these fucking pricks from Universal who made these calls. Bad Choice 2. The Nightmare on Elm Street movies making Freddy Krueger more comedic. Fucking Christ, man. The Freddy from parts 1 to 3 were dark and serious portrayals, and yes, he did make jokes, particularly in part 3. They were very mean-spirited and cruel, mocking and toward the characters, and Freddy was still played dead serious as a threat. Come Nightmare on Elm Street 4, there was an increase in Freddy making jokes, but he still had somewhat of an edge. Then part 5 came, and he became the fucking clown everybody associates the character to be with. In part 6, holy fuck, that took Freddy and made him a goddamn cartoon. Just listen to this shit.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your soul too. No screaming while the bus is in motion. Now I'm playing with power.
Oh my god, I think that just gave me AIDS listening to that.
I think this movie is giving me AIDS. I think if I took a blood test right now, I would test positive for AIDS.
Moving on to part 7, aka Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Thank God it brought Freddy back to being dark, and Freddy vs. Jason had Freddy make jokes, but this motherfucker had an edge to him in that movie, in a few great moments at least, that reminded people that he is a fucking monster, which made me wish they leaned into that more for that film. Although I do love Freddy vs. Jason, and Freddy did make me laugh in that movie. Particularly the part when he's in the dream sequence with Laurie on Camp Crystal Lake, and he's fucking that dead female counselor, and he gives us this gem of a line. Overall, I just wish they went darker with Freddy in that movie. And as for the remake, well, they took Freddy in probably his most darkest portrayal since the OG movie. And I do have a couple of strong feelings about that, and I know the biggest issue people have with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, particularly the portrayal of Freddy, is, well, aside from the fact that it's not Robert Englund, which I'm over that personally, they're gonna have to replace him sometime, and I actually love Jackie Earle Haley's portrayal as Freddy Krueger in the remake. What people have the biggest issue with is the fact that they made him more explicitly a sexual predator. And let me tell you something. Freddy Krueger was always a fucking sexual predator. Anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm tired of having this stupid fucking argument. If you actually paid attention to any of the movies, particularly the later sequels, they do confirm this guy's a fucking diddler. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Which, now that I think about it, them making him more comedic and confirming that fact is kind of fucked up. I don't know what they were thinking on that aspect. Yeah, that was a big fucking mistake on their part. But anyway, let me move on because I think I'm about to fucking vomit up some bile just thinking about what they did to Freddy Krueger as a character over the years. Bad choice number 3. Unmade Hammer horror films. Just thinking about these gives me a sad erection at the thought of what could have been. Now, for those of you who don't know, because you've been living under a rock like Patrick Star from SpongeBob, Hammer Studios was a legendary film production company based in London that started in the 1940s. They specialized in gothic horror films and had legendary actors such as Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Ralph Bates, Michael Gough, and more gods of acting, but I gotta level with you guys on the true attraction to these films. The women, because holy fucking shit. They are some of the most beautiful women you will ever see on screen in your entire life. No exaggeration. Alright, fuck it, it's horny tangent time. I don't know where Hammer Studios found these women because they had to have been either made in a lab or God himself decided to lock in harder than he's ever had when making them because he broke his fucking mold when doing so. It's like you look at someone like me and can tell God was phoning it in that day because, it's like he saw my final design and said, send him out like that, give him a great personality, but make him short and slightly unhinged. And when it came to making the actresses that starred in these Hammer films, he rolled up his sleeves, cracked his neck, and said, let's fucking go. Like he's an anime shonen protagonist who's the most overpowered motherfucker in the show, but we love him for it. 2 actresses I wanted to name at the top of my head in particular are Madeline Smith, who in the movie The Vampire Lovers looks like she's just gonna burst out of her top in every single scene. So thank Jesus Christ, I'm about to lose it. So thank you to whoever was in charge of wardrobe on those films, because damn near all the women in Hammer horror films, well, just Hammer films in general, look like they're one exhale away from being topless. God, I love him for it. And as for Ingrid Pritt, also in the Vampire Lovers movie as the lesbian vampire lover to Madeline Smith's character, well, I don't know any other way to say it, guys, but I'm just gonna come right out with it. Sweet fucking Lord, I want to bury my face in those cheeks. What was I talking about again? Oh, right, unmade Hammer horror films. Back on topic, Hammer Studios had multiple projects that sound like they could have been truly great. Like they wanted to do a movie where Kali, the Hindu goddess of death, becomes the bride of Dracula. The way Hammer Studios brought other countries to life with some of their sets was truly amazing, and I definitely would have loved to see Kali take Dracula's head off at the end of the movie. Another canceled project was a Vampirella film adaptation based on the famous sexy magazine character who just oozes sex out of her pores. Not to mention one of the actresses they were looking to get the role of Vampirella was Valerie Leon, who, oh my fucking Christ, has a truly amazing rack. Seriously, Google Valerie Leon, Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, and then hit images. You're welcome. Another idea was Zeppelin versus Pterodactyls, which, from the poster, looked like it was going to be a fun, pulpy adventure movie. Besides, anything with dinosaurs is cool as fuck, and you can't say otherwise. I mean, yes, there's the Jurassic Park franchise, but holy shit, Universal has milked that franchise almost as much as I want to milk Madeline Smith. Side note, I'm actually drinking milk and eating chocolate chip cookies while I'm recording this, so that is kind of funny. But the one canceled Hammer horror film that makes me want to punch a hole in the motherfucking wall was the canceled Loch Ness Monster movie, because it was going to be a co-production between Hammer Studios and legendary Japanese film studio Toho, who are known for making the Godzilla films, but some brain-dead stupid motherfucker at Hammer Studios decided to pull the funding and cancel the project after Toho Studios already constructed a Loch Ness Monster puppet, which cost thousands of fucking dollars. So let me get this straight. We could have gotten a giant monster film co-made by 2 of the greatest monster film-making studios to ever exist, but Hammer decided, nah, I'm good, and pulled out of the project like me not trying to knock someone up? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know what kind of whore crack they were smoking, but even me, someone with the IQ of a fucking boulder, could see that was a stupid fucking decision. Oh my god. Alright, I think it's time to move on to the next bad choice. So the last thing I want to say about unmade Hammer films and the studio in general is that I truly hope they make a big comeback. I know they release a couple films sporadically in the past decade, but I want them to hit a new golden age. Cinemas are desperately needing more gothic horror, blood, and breasts on the screen that only Hammer Studios can deliver. Especially that last one. Speaking of which, I'll be right back. I need another smoke break because talk about Madeline Smith and Ingrid Pitt got me harder than a diamond, and I need to hose myself off. Excuse me.
Lay down.
Alright, I'm back, and after getting that out of my system, I'm ready to get on to the last two films of my bad choices segment, and these last two films in particular are the biggest sinners when it comes to stupidity. The sheer amount of they didn't give a fuck in terms of story and some of the creative choices makes me question not only the sanity behind the stupid fucking assholes who came up with these ideas in the first place, but the studio's higher-ups who actually saw the finished products and said, yeah, let's just drop our pants and shit out this film on moviegoers because we can, and they're gonna fucking take it. Like some cheap piece of ass giving it up on the corner in exchange for a bag of meth. Bad choice number 4. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, the cult storyline, and the fate of Jamie Lloyd. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, what they did is unfucking forgivable. Now let me start off by saying something positive, because then I can get into how I truly feel about this cinematic dumpster fire fever dream of a fucking film. The idea of a cult in the world of the Halloween franchise is not bad per se, and they could have actually done something truly interesting with that idea, but their goals were confusing as fuck, and whether or not they had any actual control over Michael Myers was too ambiguous in the movie. You know, I lean toward the theory that they think they control him, but in reality, he's doing this for shits and giggles. I mean, it's Michael Myers. Come on now. The tone and atmosphere was done very well, and the kills were pretty damn good. Very bloody. So, there is some good positives I can say about this movie. And Michael was actually scary in this film, and his mask no longer looked like Nicolas Cage on acid. Now, on to some of the bad decisions and the outright brain-dead ones. They brought back Dr. Wynn, a character from the original Halloween movie, and made him the mysterious man in black who was in the last film and the leader of the cult. You guys remember the Smith Groves administrator Dr. Loomis had a conversation with at the beginning of the original movie about Michael's escape? Yeah, I didn't either, and nobody fucking cared. They got poor Donald Pleasance doing his best to bring life to this shit when in reality, he was dying. You could tell watching this movie, and it's depressing as all hell. Paul Rudd in this film is doing some of the most bizarre acting I've ever seen. And I get this was his first movie, I think. And the character he played, a now grown-up Tommy Doyle, the little boy Laurie Strode babysat in the first movie, is supposed to be fucked up. But I mean, come the fuck on. Would he be this fucking bizarre? And I would have loved if they brought back Lindsay Wallace as a nice counterbalance if they had her be well-adjusted, unlike Tommy. Kara, I don't give a shit. Kara Strode wasn't that interesting as a final girl, and her kid Danny possibly becoming the next Michael Myers could have been interesting, but they threw that idea in the fucking trash. And now, I'm gonna get to the biggest issue I have with this film, and why every single time this movie is brought up, I get the urge to shit out my mouth and vomit out my asshole. The fate of Jamie Lloyd in this movie. Before I get to that, though, some character backstory for those of you who don't know or seen these films. The character Jamie Lloyd was introduced in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, came out in 1988. Played by horror movie queen and one of my horror movie crushes since I was 7, Danielle Harris. Anyway, Jamie Lloyd is the 8-year-old daughter of Laurie Strode and the niece of Michael Myers. Jamie is living with her foster family, the Carruthers, since her mom, Laurie, died off screen in a recent car accident, and so did her unknown father, who we don't give a fuck about anyway. Jamie is bullied at school by the other kids because the whole town knows Michael Myers is her uncle, and those little fuckwads torture her about it. Jamie was such a lovable character and was a tough kid who dealt with some pretty heavy shit, and things just got worse in part 5, when, after suffering a sort of mental break and stabbing her foster mother after the fucked up events of Halloween 4, she was put in the town's children's psychiatric ward. It was now mute from the trauma of what happened. I don't know how that works, but that's another story. Anyway, slowly over the course of part 5, Jamie loses everything she ever held dear. Her foster parents are out of town and seemingly now distant emotionally from her. Her foster sister Rachel gets killed off in part 5 very early, which was a big fucking mistake, but that's another thing to discuss for another day. That annoying bitch Tina, who's close friends with Rachel and like another sister to Jamie, gets killed off. Great for the audience, but terrible for Jamie. God, I fucking hated Tina. Anyway, Jamie gets chased down once again by Michael, even stabbed in the fucking leg by him in a very harrowing scene when she's hiding in some sort of a ventilation shaft, or I think it was the laundry chute. Yeah, it was the laundry chute. And after all this shit goes down, and Michael is actually in a jail cell, which was a hilarious sight to see because they kept his mask on and he looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. Some mystery man in black who's been showing up randomly throughout the film in part 5, who somehow has a connection to Michael. We'll get to that when we talk about part 6. He shoots up the police station and blows out the back of Michael's cell and escapes with him. The film ends with Jamie Lloyd crying in despair over the events of the film and Michael's escape. She pretty much lost everybody she loved, with Rachel and Tina, thank God, dead. Her foster parents MIA, and the sheriff and police completely massacred with her maniac of an uncle escaping. Did you get all that? Those fucked up series of unfortunate events happen over the span of 2 films, Halloween 4 and 5. Now you're probably thinking, what the fuck else can go wrong in this kid's life? Well, strap yourselves in, because Jamie Lloyd returns 6 years later in Halloween 6, released in 1995. And Jesus H. Christ, what direction they take the character is so fucking unbelievable, it sickens me to my core. So Halloween 6 starts off with the world thinking Jamie Lloyd died in the police station massacre, but it turns out right after the film cut to black in part 5 with Jamie crying at Michael's escape, the Cult of Thorn, the ones with Michael, kidnapped Jamie and has held her prisoner for 6 years. And what does the film opening scene show? Jamie Lloyd giving birth to a baby in some creepy, disgusting basement. Now, let me further elaborate. Jamie Lloyd was kidnapped at the end of part 5 when she was 9 years old and is now 15. She's been held prisoner of this cult working with Michael Myers and got forcibly impregnated, which is already fucked up in so many ways. And to make matters worse, if that's even possible, turns out you're not going to believe who the father is. It's fucking Michael Myers, her uncle. So Michael raped Jamie when she was 14 and got her pregnant. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit, that is sick. And then when Jamie escapes with the baby and hides him, she gets killed off in such a mean-spirited way, no matter if you're watching the theatrical cut or the producer's cut of the film. This character was put through absolute hell for 3 straight films and gets killed off like she didn't fucking matter in part 6. The whole incest rape thing was so fucking bad and made absolutely no goddamn sense for the character of Michael Myers and came across as added for shock value. Now, they don't actually show the rape, thank fuck, but the fact that it still happens and was thought up by some screenwriter to be a good idea and somehow made sense to them is so beyond me, I cannot fathom how they thought this was the way to go. You could have done anything, and this is what you do for Halloween 6? Holy shit, give me Michael Myers in space instead. I'd rather watch that, as stupid as it fucking sounds. No wonder why Danielle Harris didn't want to come back after she read that piece of shit of a script and when they didn't even want to pay her what she deserved. Imagine you're in her shoes, and not only do they not want to budge on the direction of where they're taking your character, but they don't even want to pay you what you rightfully deserved after being in 2 previous films and you played such an important and loved character. They only wanted to pay her the same amount of money she got on Halloween 4, you know, when she was like fucking 9. and she went out of her way to star in Halloween 6, even getting legally emancipated so she could work adult hours since she was only 17 at the time. She does all of that, and it costs a pretty penny to do so, and when it's all said and done, they basically spit in her fucking face and said she wasn't worth it, and recast the role when she declined to come back after the way they not only treated her character, but her. Okay, my final words on this whole goddamn fiasco and direct at that son of a bitch who came up with the idea to take the character of Jamie Lloyd, and let's be honest, Halloween 6 in general, in this direction. I'm gonna paraphrase and steal from Jim Cornette when I say this. Just goddamn you, fuck you, go away and leave the Halloween franchise alone. You single-digit IQ motherfucker. Thank you, fuck you, bye. Hold up. I'm not fucking done spitting venom on bad choices for films because I got one more in me before I end the show. Bad choice number 5. Alien 3, killing off Newton Hicks. This motherfucking choice is so bad and nobody can convince me otherwise. You hear that, Chris? Ain't no way you could defend that. You had Ripley, who after surviving the massacre of her crewmates in part 1, waking up in part 2 to find out her daughter died while she was in hypersleep, go through another massacre with those damn aliens, and in spite of it all, she overcomes everything, defeating the xenomorph queen, torching the alien nest, and gaining a new makeshift family with a surrogate daughter with little Newt, a romantic partner in Hicks, and a kinda sorta brother-sister relationship with the synthetic android Bishop, finally moving past her distress of androids and finding some peace and solace after all she's been through. And what does Alien 3 open up with? The reveal that it was all for fucking nothing, since Newt and Hicks died in hypersleep, and Ripley got impregnated by an alien queen while in hypersleep as well. And poor Bishop was torn apart and eventually deactivated. Oh, and it gets worse. Not only do they confirm Newt was dead, but they perform a fucking autopsy on her corpse, as if to rub in the fact that she was killed off. What the fuck, man? The whole tone of Alien 3 was so depressing it was practically cancer-inducing to sit through. And the final cherry on top of this, Ripley dies at the end of the film, making the whole trilogy up to that point all for fucking nothing, and one of the bleakest no-hope endings to a movie ever made. Part 2 ended perfectly, and if they never made another sequel, I would have been satisfied, but if they just changed a few things for Part 3, such as not killing off the characters who fought so damn hard in the last film to make it through, only to be killed off in the opening credits of this damn movie, that would have been a good start. The main black guy prisoner was a very interesting character, and so was Charles Dance, as the alcoholic doctor, or was it alcohol, or what the fuck was he addicted to in that movie? I don't know. He was an addict, whatever the fuck. But anyway, they were great, but even they couldn't save this movie from itself. Ripley, of course, was played to perfection by Sigourney Weaver because, I mean, come on, of course she was. It's Sigourney Weaver. But what they do to this character of Ripley is fucking unforgivable. Now, I know Ripley returns in part 4, but that's a clone, so technically, this is the final fate of one of the most loved sci-fi heroines ever to be put on screen. Her death to end the movie was so sad, and when they played the final recording of the Nostromo from the original movie, it felt like the biggest gut punch. I don't want to talk about Alien 3 anymore because thinking about it makes me want to turn my brains to wallpaper. My final word on this movie is this. Whoever came up with the decision to kill off Newt, Hicks, and Bishop and make this movie such a risk-cutting experience with the tone, let me say this loud and clear. Your mother should have swallowed you. That is all. Well, guys, this is the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed it and got some laughs along the way. You know, it's funny. Whenever I do these Grindhouse Style episodes, I just go off as crazy as I can while I'm much more closer to my true personality in the, well, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm doing finger quotes, the normal episodes. So, it's a fun contrast. Like I have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing going on. And the funniest part for me personally is that you guys probably listen to these episodes and think, wow, this guy's a horny nutjob asshole. And what's funny is, like, I'm a huge sweetheart in real life. I am a nutjob, though, so that is definitely accurate. I refer to these episodes as Grindhouse Style after the type of exploitation film that's just excessive in everything when it comes to X-rated content, whether it be, violence, language, sexual content, or just plain fucked up situations. That's why the tone of these episodes is much more crude and rude compared to my other episodes, where I'm much more subdued in comparison. Honestly, these are my favorite types of episodes to do since they're the funnest type to record for, since I act as unhinged and crude as possible. Meanwhile, in real life, I'm practically the freaking normal SpongeBob meme, for God's sakes. I just wanted to explain all this since I was wondering in my head if people were asking themselves, how come I acted different depending on what episode I'm recording? So, to clear things up, if I say I'm doing a Grindhouse Style episode, it's my way of saying my unhinged freaky side is coming out. So get ready and brace yourselves. Any other episode, well, yeah, I'll crack a couple of jokes. I'm much more subdued and closer to my true personality. So I hope I cleared this up and there's no more confusion to the 5 people who actually listen to these episodes. But this is the end of the episode, so until next time, this is Adam the Movie Guy telling you to stay unhinged and keep watching movies. Bye.